been a hot minute.
I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot
Very
minute.
hot. It was really
40
hot.
some odd degrees.
Oh. I was in Greece and it was
Yeah, how was?
cold.
Yeah, dude, let's. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't bury the lead.
So I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Well, you welcome back too. We haven't done this in a month and a half.
Yeah, but like welcome back to the country.
True.
I've been in the building.
Title of the podcast. Welcome back to the country.
Yeah.
I like it. Greece was great, obviously. It's the best.
Where'd you go? Okay.
Okay.
I have so many different questions about Greece
Okay.
and like why that's always your destination of choice.
A lot of
do you
people
go
have
to
that
different places?
Yes. Okay.
Start there.
Okay. So I get that question all the time. Actually, Michaela's family asked that question too. It's like, why always there? Why not? There's a bunch of reasons for that. One, I'm Greek. Yeah. It's we have such a pride over our land because we were for like 400, 500 years, we were slaves practically to another country that took over that whole Balkan. That's why everybody from the Balkans is very proud and very kind of like abrasive and very like, Bulgaria is the best or whatever it is, because for so many generations, they lived in fear and they were like second-class citizens. So now having your own land is like very important in the culture and everyone really cherishes it. So it's like the homeland, like it really means something. So that's one of the reasons. Like it always feels nice going back because it feels like I am back home to an extent. Greece is also extremely beautiful, and the way it's there's so much coastal line, and what's not coastal is all mountains. So
there's like nothing in the middle of just like boring prairie. Like it's just all pretty.
It's just all pretty, and there's so much to do. I like there's so many different places. Like I'm talking about hundreds of places that you can go and feel magical or feel at home or feel comfortable or feel
like a Disney princess.
Honestly, I went to a place in Rhodes, which is an island just off of Turkey there, and it is you feel like a princess. Yeah,
Sick.
There's this giant castle with giant castle walls and a dry moat.
Yeah.
So there's like a wall, a dry moat. It was never meant for water. It was just dry, and another wall, and they're massive walls, and you can walk the whole line of the castle, and it is phenomenal. You're like, oh, no one was ever getting through this. Like this was. If I lived in that castle,
you're good.
I'd feel so safe. And that was actually where the Crusades, that's where like the base was of the Crusades.
Okay.
So Crusaders would go there and then go fight for Jerusalem. And so it was really cool.
Cool history. Yeah.
So history is another thing. I love history. Right. And
there's a lot of history.
I read a lot of history, and I read like great lectures and courses on history of that region specifically. So for me, it's just like everything is just like, why not go there? The beaches are phenomenal. And like I said, there's so many different places. So islands alone, there are, and I'll name a few now just because you're going to be like, oh, I've heard of that place. So Crete, you've probably heard of. Rhodes, you might have just heard of it, but Santorini, of course. Mykonos, Milos is the new really, really big one, which is like, it's just like this giant rock. There's like nothing on it. It's just giant rock formations. Then you jump in the water and it's really beautiful.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I like places like that.
Yeah. Paros and Naxos are pretty famous if you're looking to travel. They're not Santorini and Mykonos, but
where somebody would go to Santorini from wherever to go is just one destination.
Exactly.
There. And if you're doing like a Greek trip, you'll go
to Santorini. Yeah. The other ones.
Like some of these other ones. Yeah. If you're going to like see some spots in Greece, not just like go to Santorini.
Well, that's the thing. Now those other places are one and done trips as well.
Right.
So
because Santorini is kind of like crazy expensive.
Santorini is crazy expensive. Like if you want the view, so you want to go there to get that beautiful view and stay on that cliffside, you're going to be paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000 Canadian a night.
Sick.
It's beautiful. Like it is. It is worth it for 1 or 2 nights. Do you need to be there for a week? There's probably cheaper places that you can enjoy.
But it's nice to stop. That's like when we did our honeymoon in Italy, we kind of finished in Amalfi and we were like...
Oh, you went to Amalfi?
Yeah. That's beautiful. And it was like you follow, almost Amalfi. And you take a elevator down the cliff. Yeah. Like you drive up the mountain and then you take an elevator from like... your parking spot, and then there's more parking spots, and there's just like this elevator shaft, and then you go down the mountain into like the hotel, and the hotel rooms would overlook, and we could see what's the volcano that murdered Pompeii? climbed it. I can't remember it. Oh my goodness. Anyways, the volcano that murdered Pompeii. You can see it there too from the hotel room. There's beautiful view. Anyways,
pretty cool.
Yeah, those are always like.
Yeah, there's breathtaking. Yeah, right? Like
and worth the price for a couple nights.
A couple nights.
It's nice to say.
If you're a baller, sure, go for longer. Yeah, but even Santorini, like I feel at home there for two nights, and then I'm like, okay, let me go save tons of money and go swim more and do other things, and so that like Mykonos is the place if you want to party. Like it is. Maybe Ibiza.
Vesuvius.
And
Vesuvius is the volcano.
I was like, I don't think you partied there.
No, you don't really party in a. Anyways.
No. Santorini had great parties. It was.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Like everyone's heard of the craziness.
Mykonos. That's Mykonos.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So there's so many places.
So like you can go back to Greece nonstop and go to a different place every time. So you can still go and explore. You're not just going to the same spot every time.
Exactly. And if you do go to the same spot, it's phenomenal. Like it's awesome. Yeah. So why not go to the same spot? And then there's Athens, Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki was one of the biggest cities in history in that region in Europe for a long time. So there was Constantinople, and Thessaloniki was like not the sister city, but another really big hub, very big cultural hub, very big artist hub. So it's a very interesting. I've never been there. That's like my next trip to Greece would be to go there. So there's so much to explore. It's beautiful. I get why people are like, why not? But it's like Italy. Saying, I've been to Italy. Well, did you go to Milan? Did you go? Right. Did you go skiing? Did you go to the water? Did you go to Sicily? Like, there's so much to do that you can go back there every year for many years. Any country, really, and especially when you're from there. You
just gotta know the stuff.
You know the stuff. So of course I know the stuff pretty well because I'm, that's my background, and I'm interested in the stuff, which is also different, right? And I speak the language, at least understand the language to an extent. So it makes everything much better. But I think next year, if I was to do a trip, it might be different countries, just because there's
explore
more.
A little bit.
Yeah,
there's lots of the world.
Yeah, I want to go to Portugal. I want to see, Scotland and Ireland. I want to go to Germany and Amsterdam and Italy. Like there are a lot of other places on my bucket list. So, but Greece is always home. So it's great. Yeah. Sorry, nice. I went on a tangent there.
No, you had those couple questions. I asked the question. I
hope that answers it, because everybody asks like, why would you go there every year? And it's just like, you got to go there to experience it. I get, maybe other people don't want to go to the same place every year, but why do people go to a cottage every weekend? It's like, it's the same thing.
100%. I mean, like cottages, maybe because you paid a couple $1 million for the cottage, you're going to get some use out of it. But like, if you're going on, to each their own, right? Some people only go on all inclusives. Some people refuse to go on all inclusives. Some people only go on cruises. Like,
for us, when you think of all-inclusive, you think what? Mexico, Cuba, Dominican, one of those places, right?
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Whatever it
Jamaica,
is. Jamaica,
some island.
Yeah.
Right?
So for Europe, that's Greece.
Right.
Is there
actual all-inclusives?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's tons.
Okay.
But it's just, why would you pay, $2,000 for a plane ticket to go to an all-inclusive when you can pay $200 or whatever it is here? $500. Well, there's some packages to Cuba now that are like literally $1,000 for a week. So it's like, we would just do that. But that's what they do there.
So that's the Euro vacation. The Euro all inclusive. Because why would you go across the world and pay deal with the time and air travel, and also pay the ticket when you're going for the virtually the same experience?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Anyways,
are you an all inclusive guy? It's been a while.
No.
Yeah,
I don't mind them, but by day 3 I lose my mind.
Yeah,
I think day 3
that
4,
tracks.
I'm just kind of like, all right, I need to do something.
Yep,
so
I get it.
I love these types of like big long vacations, or even
you can
when I went to Vancouver,
put a couple of chill days here, and then a couple active days, and a couple chill days, and a couple active days,
or all active. I love it. Like I love just like being like, what are we doing today? I wake up, I'm like,
where
all right,
going?
We're gonna do all these cool things, and I'm excited and get to see so much. And I buy I buy little fridge magnets.
Like everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go. So I have like a whole fridge full of all Greece practically.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. How have you been?
Busy. It's like a weird August of like crazy busyness. I wish I had some exciting vacation stories to tell, but I found some good deals while everyone was gone. So that's good. A lot of, that was it. It was just work. Just like that. There's nothing exciting to talk about. It was just a lot of work, which is good because it's been very up and down for the year. So I really got down and into it in August. Everyone's on vacation. The deals start to pop up, right? Or the deals sit around, and then you can kind of create more deals.
Deal creation's a real thing now.
Yeah, especially when the market is down, not doing much. Interest rates are still climbing. And then people are like, we're on vacation, leave us alone. I think I've cleaned it up a lot though. Like we had a big long list of interesting properties to look at. Like we talked about how we keep our, like, these are maybe mediocre if the prices come down a little bit, or we can negotiate and yada, yada, yada. I think I bought them all, not personally, but like this morning I was going through and like kind of cleaning up the list of like what's left that's actually kind of decent. There's not much right now. You found one? I
found a couple.
Yeah. It's a couple hot ones, but it's definitely quieted down. I think we're into, let's wait and see what happens next week with new listing volume. But yeah, Phil wasn't. So, I just got to work.
What do you think about this?
Exciting.
I'm sensing right now, and I'm hoping it stays this way. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But it feels like since I've been gone, maybe a week before.
Sorry.
Since I've been gone,
still in my head.
It's until now has sort of. It felt like the market has plateaued. Meaning not like maybe prices have gone down a little bit, but I mean. Buyers and sellers are kind of in line. Like it wasn't like it was before where every property was just multiple offers, and it wasn't
that's
like
gone.
At some point when there was just nothing out there. Like, I mean, it's August, so of course there's nothing really out there, but at the same time it feels like demand and supply are easing into an equilibrium.
They're finding a bit of a balance, I think.
But I don't know. I have been away for a little while.
No, you're not wrong. The offer date stuff, the multiple offers. I mean, the multiple offers is kind of gone. The offer date properties are still there, which is like, it's so silly because you see them go up now, and you're like, well, this is just gonna fail. So I'll wait a week and see where you relist.
No one goes and sees those.
Nobody sees them anymore. But still, probably well over 50% of listings come up with an offer date because agents don't. I don't know. They don't change their tune. They're just like, this was what worked when houses sold for free in 2021, so therefore we'll just do it.
It's like again. 1 out of 10 works now.
Yeah,
like sometimes it happens, and I'm like, what?
It has to be an absolute rock star of a house, right? And then to the point where you're like, I don't know how to price this thing, so let the market price it. But it has to be silly good. But like when we're seeing like these needs $100,000 investment property type of things that are just like
these needs
listed for whatever with an offer date, and you're like, I'm just gonna wait and see it next week. If somebody buys it for whatever the seller wants, they're going to get ripped off. So let's just see where you reprice it and negotiate from there. So like none of the bidding wars are happening. Every deal that I've done in August, every one of them was just a one-on-one negotiation, which is a really nice place to be.
It's where it should be.
It feels very balanced. I mean, not all of them were crazy under list. But everything was at a discount from whatever it was listed at, and I think things were listed fairly reasonably. We had good conversations. There was some where we were able to apply like a lot of pressure, ditch it, let the offer die, go back kind of thing. People are sweating because they're not going to sell, and agents are going to lose the listing. So there's power in the buyer's side, and especially those that have rate holds as rates continue to climb through the summer, right? So people that had rate holds were doing fairly well, and I think what's not accounted for, and you see this in some listings too, where people like they'll list the potential gross rents, but it's like 60% of the potential gross rents because rents have gone so berserk lately, and they're not accounted for, which is also making deals make a lot of sense. Now, whether or not that's a good thing in the grand scheme of the state of our housing market is a question in its own, but it's helped the numbers work for sure. I am curious to see how the next couple of weeks pans out. Now that we've actually had the rate hold as of today, it's not, I mean, you said this earlier yesterday, it's not, I don't think it's going to be the same as the last time we had a rate hold. We're starting from a much higher baseline, right?
Yeah.
Rates are a lot higher today than they were back when, I don't know.
Last time there was a hold, it was like everybody just.
But it was pandemonium because everyone was like waiting for like the one sliver of positivity. And I think when they announced the rate hold, then they also said like, for the foreseeable future, like it was a fairly solid, they were just going to hold here, which obviously ended up being BS. Yeah. And this time they were a little bit sheepish about it. Like, we're not sure if we're done.
It might go up again.
And I don't know if that was them trying to like stem the tide.
Sure. Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure it is.
Like,
yeah. I think they either misplayed it last time. I think they misplayed it actually
pretty big,
very largely by saying that they're going to hold it because the market went crazy.
Right, they went nuts.
And we go up like 10%.
We lost basically ever since they started to raise rates again into August, we lost like all the gains. Like from how crazy it went from, I think it was January, February.
Yeah.
basically all of that gain was lost back again. So we're starting from an interesting new baseline. Sellers and buyers are slowly, hopefully, starting to come to an equilibrium and step back into things, and we're heading into a bit more of a balanced market, especially in Toronto. The general consensus seems to be the rest of Canada has a bit more to fall, but I think we're so supply constrained that it will keep us.
It feels like it's becoming a little bit more. I'm not going to even use that word because I think that's just out of touch. It's becoming more. Well, okay. What I was going to use
is affordable, weren't you?
Reasonable.
Yeah. Okay.
Both probably. Yeah. Like not really. It's definitely not affordable, and it's definitely reasonable. Maybe it's reasonable. You can argue it because there's a reason it is being priced at this price. Like largely to do with mortgages. I think there's something to be said about the whole mortgage system and why it's. I mean, so we live in a growth economy that we have to constantly be growing, or else things collapse hard. As we're trying to avoid as much as possible.
I know some schemes that run like that.
Yes, it is
curious.
Yes, that's practically what Western society is.
Yeah,
and so it's about how can you grow, how can you predict growth so you don't grow uncontrollably and then crash. So like China. They grew super fast, and now it's predicted that there may be some hard times in the near future, but who knows?
It's pretty dark days. I mean, I think they're posted. Somebody was saying this here recently. Their posted unemployment rate in China is like over 20%. But when you talk to people who actually know people who are living in China, at least in their social circle, it's closer to like 60. It's insane.
Well, what's happened in China, because they went super high growth, they became a factory country. But now they've transitioned into cities. They have mega cities that rival, New York. Like that's how it is there. So now their cost of production is going up because now people's jobs and time is worth higher, and they can get better jobs.
And
so
the production is now getting removed to
other
U.S., Canada, wherever you're now Bangladesh or production India, either in-house or in different less expensive countries, and which is not great for the country of production.
Yes, so you lose a lot, and that's what happens when you're super high growth is you run that risk. And hey, the same thing happened in the States. Remember back in not remember, it was before our time, but during the Industrial Revolution in like UK, that's what they were. They were all in factory workers. And remember the whole Detroit thing? Hey, it's our cars, and now
and that disappears overnight. And then what happens to Detroit?
Yeah,
we've seen it happen again and again. You
see it happen in every country that becomes, if you want to say, at the most advanced, or if you put it in a different perspective, that shifts from agricultural and rural work to city-focused work, because there's higher quality jobs typically. When you're living in a big city, there's more protection, there's more social services, there's a lot more offered in cities as opposed to living very rurally. And I don't mean like Newmarket. I mean like
Newmarket,
10 hours
north.
It's
not rural.
Of I mean like 10 hours plus away from a city.
North Bay.
Where so all those people just flock to the cities. The cities become these metropolises. They're huge, and then you lose a lot of jobs.
Well, that's depressing.
Yeah. So when I was away, I mean, the overall there are two things I want to touch on.
Okay.
So I met people from the States, from UK, a few other, Australia, of course, Greece, and a few other countries. And when I spoke to a lot of people because I'm just very curious. I ask a lot of questions, and a lot of them are like, "Oh, we don't trust our government. We hate our government. Our government's screwing us." Every different one of those countries, they're like, "Yeah, what they've put us through." And you know what? They don't understand. A lot of those people did understand. Actually, there was some very very knowledgeable people in economics or in finance, so they understood why they were getting screwed. But some people didn't. Right? A lot of the Greek people I talked to from a village, they don't understand what's going on. They're just like, "Hey, we're getting screwed right now. Yeah. Whatever's going on, it's really hurting us, and we don't like it."
And you don't understand necessarily why, or
so a lot of people don't understand why, and the people who do understand why are like, "Oh yeah, they just fully screwed us, and we were handcuffed here, and now we have to kind of deal with it and see what happens." And so that kind of, I mean, it was both comforting and shocking at the same time.
Yeah, I think you see that change a lot in the last, I don't know, maybe year or so. Is that, I guess the everyday person starting to understand more. I mean, everyone's feeling it, right? It's every single person is feeling in some way, shape, or form, at least financially, how you've been screwed over the past few years. But now a lot more people are understanding, like it's a topic of conversation and people are understanding what happened in the background to make it so. But also you see politicians that just don't give a shit and do blatantly illegal shit nonstop. And they're like, there's no consequences. Party time, baby.
I can't even talk about that. I don't know all the details about what's going on right now, but
what are we talking about? Greenbelt?
Yeah.
We can talk about that next time.
Do you have like stuff on it or?
Not entirely. All I know is someone had to get retired and there was some sketchy dealings and then land got sold. And anyways, I mean, it was obviously like basically an insider trade.
Oh yeah. Entire situation. It was very obvious though from like just watching it happen. Yeah. Everybody was pointing at it like, hey,
but there's, and you're
this
like,
isn't right.
Hey, I think, and he's like, yeah, so what are you gonna do about it? I'm a fucking schoolyard bully. Like, come at me.
Like, of course I'm doing this.
Yeah, idiots.
Well, yeah, that's not good.
But you need houses, stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to. Yeah, we'll dig into that and kind of. Okay, we'll talk about that next time.
Maybe we'll be a little bit more knowledgeable on it next time and look into it a little bit. Okay, the second thing I was going to mention, which is kind of funny because you go to Greece, which is like very laid back culture there. It's very different. Like, it's like one of the people. So a couple from the States that I met, they were like, we were running late for one of our reservations. And we are trying to get up this, I don't know what it is, a tram that goes up a mountain so that we can get to the top of the mountain. It's not a big mountain, a hill, call it. So we're at the top of the hill overlooking Athens to get a dinner.
Right.
And so they're like, we get there and there's a line and we feel uncomfortable. So I just go up to the front of the line to the person working there saying, hey, I have a reservation. You know, are you guys with the restaurant? And the person's like, oh, when's your reservation for? And they're like, oh, it's for like 10 minutes ago. And they're like, 10 minutes ago, you're going to be fine. They in Greece, you keep your reservation all night. Like, it's just like, why are you rushing? Just enjoy the moment. Like, there's no point in rushing.
Because here, you're like,
here it's
you
like, you have an hour and a half. Like, you sit down and they literally tell you, like, just so you know, your table's good until here. And you're like,
and they bring you the bill. And they're like, okay, just you feel the
the bill's there. And then they're like, like,
you can,
here's the machine.
100%. Tap. Yeah, like, you go to anywhere that's like actually busy here, you can fully feel.
Just like, get out and we need to make more money, which is fair. I get it, but it's not
nice it's not as comfortable a feeling. Like, you're sitting down for dinner.
It's hard to transition because you're like,
yeah. Can I pay you
and
now?
They're just like, now? You didn't even drink a coffee.
You're done?
Like, like, aren't you getting drinks? Like, what's the rush? I literally had somebody tell me, what's the rush? And
it's a different life.
I was like, I don't know what the rush is, but I feel like I'm rushing right now because I'm so used to it. Like, I'm done. I'm like, get up and I'm leaving as quick as possible. But it's like, it's nice just to sit there and you have live music or whatever. And
it really is a different like pace of life. You kind of have to like, I remember that feeling when, again, I'm going to circle back to honeymoon in Italy. We were in, I think it was when we were in Rome. We would go just like, and we don't do this here, but we would go out at night and just like, because the people don't start until after dinner. The life doesn't
too
wake
hot.
Up. Yeah,
it's too hot.
That's like you go to sleep in the middle of the day. You go work and you go have a nap and you go back to work a little bit. Then you go home. You have dinner. You probably have another nap, and then it's like 9 o'clock when you go for dinner, kind of thing.
Even that's early.
And that's kind of probably early. And we would go out to like every little square that was close by, and there's just like live music playing. People are hanging out. People are having drinks on the patios that are around. There's like art people there's always stuff in the square, and we would just like sit there and have like a coffee and watch listen to the music and just like we're like, why is it 1 o'clock in the morning? Like, we've just done nothing. We're just hanging out,
mesmerized about all the life that you see.
You can't do that here.
No,
it's too. And you feel like, and you would also feel like too like rush. Everything you got to do.
How am I gonna get home?
You got to do something all the time. We're like, no, we're just gonna fucking putz around and walk home, and we'll figure it out eventually.
You know what the beauty of what you just told me is?
Different life.
If you notice in Europe, all ages go to similar places to hang out.
Yes.
And I'm maybe not the club like the extreme clubs, but even the clubs there, you'll see kids and like grandparents. And
it's very, very mixed. Like very mixed.
And it's really nice that is not stigmatized in a society. Whereas here, as soon as you get the 30-year-olds going to a club, it's not a cool club anymore. You know, it's like, it's these old people, like, and I'm talking about 30, 35. Like,
I know I would not be accepted in a club anymore. I also I wouldn't. I don't think I would survive.
You would in a club, if it was different, right? Like in Greece,
different environment.
My parents go to clubs in Greece because it's just like they'll just get a little bit of food and one drink because you can order like little
different
side food, and like listen to music and hang out. And it's not like they're getting judged by everybody being there. It's just like you're sitting up beside a table that other people are like that too. And it's just
first of all, you get to sit at a table.
There are tables. Yeah, a lot of them.
Us old people like tables.
Okay. Oh yeah, my knees can't hold up. I'm considering myself old now too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're basically past club prime.
I am.
You're almost out of your club prime.
I can't like party here. Is
also so fucking expensive.
It's expensive everywhere.
That's very fair.
Yeah, it's a good time. What was the second thing? Oh yeah, so the second thing, that's what I was touching on, this whole thing, this whole like way of life. Now we have a good picture of it. Mm-hmm. Something that has come back to me from coming back, like now being back in Canada, is that I need to work on my discipline a little bit more. So I'm trying to remain a little bit more disciplined in separate aspects of my, like just different ways. Not being like super hard edge on everything, but just being like, it's easy to be a little gluttonous when you can.
Yep.
In any extent, like playing the extra video game,
right?
Sleeping in the extra 10 minutes.
Yep.
Just small time wasting stuff, and it's easy to be like, well, I deserve it. I'm tired. This, but having that little discipline of just being like, no, I told myself I would wake up at this time. Or, no, I gave myself a time limit, and this is the end, and now I am done because I am only failing myself. I think I don't know why. Maybe it's the way my brain works. Maybe it's the way our brains work, where without discipline, it's chaos.
100%.
It's a lot of chaos.
Yeah. And you kind of need some discipline and some structure. It's funny you say that. Maybe that was part of my August success, but I've been doing that very well myself lately, like staying disciplined. The morning wake up, I've definitely caught myself a couple times being like, another 5 minutes would be nice, and like, get the fuck out of bed. And then you just get up, get on with the day. Where before I don't know that I necessarily would have like had the willpower to do that, right? But actually getting up and going out, or like been trying to work out at least in some way, workout, stretch, yoga, just something every day. And I think there was one day where I like skipped, not physically with the rope this time, but I try and do that every day. But like I skipped in the mornings and things were just like kind of too chaotic, and I did wake up late, and then we got Ella down, and then Lauren was like hanging out on the couch, and I looked at the couch and I was like, no, I'm going downstairs. Got to work out. Like that was a mindset shift that I was like, oh, who's this guy? Where'd he come from? Discipline's nice. Like, I'm not sitting
Get hard.
The couch looked at me. But you know what it is? I've been listening to the rest of the book of Goggins.
Which book? The first one or the second?
I can tell you.
Can't Hurt Me?
Yeah, I think it's Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah. Where he talks about how he was like
all of his like run. I mean, it's all the runs.
Dad.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Or
yeah,
when he does an ultra marathon with no training.
Yes.
And then just dies.
I've like just finished his like series of ultra marathons is now. Like he's into like his triathlons and flipping over the bike and all that stuff. But maybe that's helped too a little bit. But even the games. Yeah, there was a day where I like opened and closed League like 3 times, and I watched myself like from 1,000-foot view fight myself. I was just like, I got nothing to do for the next. I could fit a 45-minute. I don't know what to do in this. Open. Don't you fucking do it. Close. But open, just back and forth. And I was like, okay. I eventually closed it, and I was successful. And I was like, ooh, it feels good. Kind of. And then in the back of my head, I was like, what's here? It's calling.
It's okay to do it still.
Yeah, sometimes. But like, it's nice
to check the priorities
the
first.
Discipline.
Yeah. Like, don't do that if you haven't skipped or whatever.
Right, exactly. You can reward yourself, but like, it can't always just be reward. Yeah, you got to do something for it. And that feels good.
It does. It feels a lot better than just endlessly rewarding yourself, because at some point the reward is not big enough, right? Yeah. It becomes a new car or a new bike to a new car to a new house to a new mansion to a new, it just like
now you're giving me ideas.
You're chasing the next high.
Boat.
But it's not about the high. It's about the process. It's staying disciplined, working hard, and enjoying the process. You have to enjoy the process too. If you hate it, I mean, maybe that's a good way to end it.
It is. Yeah. On a positive note.
Positive note.
All right.
Get hard. Stay hard.
Thanks, David.